Hello, Zims and Zers, Zoomers and Boomers. Welcome to Stacking Triggers, a podcast about spikes who are not very good, but we still want to spike it. I'm Bill.
And I can't. What the fuck? Oh, you're hilarious. I'm Dan. I'm a Zim, I guess. I don't know. I know. I'm definitely a he him.
You're the he him.
I'm the he him.
I'm a he him.
You're a he him.
I don't care. I don't care. People can call me she, they, them, it, whatever. I don't care.
Nice laissez-faire attitude.
Yep. But we are here trying to spike it out. Mm-hmm. But we just end up spiking at the 20.
It's true.
How have you been, Dan?
We usually wind up spiking the bar because we leave early because we went like 0-3 drop.
That's funny.
So I'm okay. I haven't played too much Magic. It's been kind of crazy around my house recently. I played a little bit of Pauper last week, and I've basically come to the conclusion that I shouldn't be playing anything other than monocolored, like even with Affinity. Like, for whatever reason, because the land base in Pauper is so bad, there's like no reason to run anything but monocolor, as I'm now finding.
That's unfortunate, but I also see what you're saying. We played last weekend, and I took the Cascade deck in Pauper against you, and it was not great.
No, the Cascade deck may as well be a mono green deck.
It might as well be.
I count that as a monocolored deck. The only deck that I don't have that is monocolored is black. I don't have a black monocolored deck, but that might change with downshifts from Commander Masters. But we're not going to talk about that this week.
No, not this week. But I think mono black might be. I think there's some positioning for mono black. What's it called? Devotion, mono black devotion with Gary. I think there's some space for that if you can keep Red's creatures off the fields.
Yes. How are you? How has your Magic been?
My Magic has been okay. I really haven't gotten to get out much with work and the kids and all that, but I did go last night to what do they call it? It's not pre-release.
Oh yeah, because there was no pre-release for Commander Masters.
Right.
What the hell was it called?
It was called the Commander Preview Event. Commander Masters Preview Event.
Something stupid like that.
It was very dumb. I will talk about it later. I have thoughts on price points. I have thoughts on what's going on in Dan's room. He's being possessed.
I'm filling my exposure. I still look dark, but it's whatever. Continue.
Perfect. But what we got today, Dan, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about up next, I think, the Explorer Anthology, and finally we're going to talk about the Pro Tour as well. That's going on still currently. I think we have the top 8s right now.
We do have the top 8. We're recording Saturday night. For those of you who are unaware of how the sausage is made, we record Saturday nights. So all we have is the top 8. We don't know how it's going to go. Looking like Tron's going to win the whole goddamn thing.
Boy, fuck Tron.
It's okay. Tron needed it. Tron hasn't been relevant in quite a while.
Has Tron ever won a Pro Tour?
Yes, it won the last modern Pro Tour that was in 2018. That was also in Barcelona, Spain.
Oh,
yes.
What year is this?
History's repeating itself.
Oh, God. Okay. That's going to be a fun talking point. If again, for everybody listening on the podcast, if you want to watch us, we're on YouTube now. Mm-hmm. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff, I think, on YouTube soonish. Yes. We're going to be getting some gameplay up, I think, for everybody for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. With that, though, do we want to just dive right into the anthologies?
Yes, absolutely. Let's talk about Disappointment Anthology 3.
The second disappointing anthology.
That's true.
Yeah. With this anthology, we got a list here we have Cyclonic Rift, Abbot of Curl Keep, Shrapnel Blast.
That's
Looks like
Court of Calling.
Yeah,
Yep.
that is a non-English version. They put up
Non-English
on
version for some reason. Don't know why it's there, but hey.
Eidolon of Blossom, Sylvan Scrying, World Spine Worm, Golgari Charm,
Yep.
Simic Charm, Izzet Charm, Gruul Charm. I don't even think that's all of them.
The Orzhov Charms below that. It's the enemy charm set.
Got it. Got it. Some Ghost Council that looks pretty. Yeah, it looks fairly metal.
Yeah, it looks cool, but it looks terrible too.
Yeah, we got the Gruul Omnath, Voice of Resurgence, Xenagos, God of Revels. Oh my gosh, there's so many.
Yep, 25.
Deathrite Shaman, Judge's Familiar. Oh, we got Cheerio of A Quarter's Shield. We have it looks like the Fast Lands as well as Thespian. Are they Fast Lands?
Unless you control two or more basic lands. So these are mega slow lands. Like these are allied like slow lands, but you can they're more for commander because you can fetch these with your fetch lands and then they come into play tapped or not. It's up to you.
Got it. Yeah. Canopy Vista, Cinderglade, Prairie Stream, Smoldering Marsh, Sunken Hollow, as well as Thespian Stage, which fantastic. I am seeing a theme in this set here.
What is the theme you're seeing, Bill?
I am seeing that they wanted to get the deck that you like to play in Pioneer, not the white deck, the Lotus Field combo deck.
I've played that maybe once. It wasn't even in a tournament. I played it like against you and Brentley, and you guys I fucking hate this deck.
I do hate that deck. But yeah, with the Sylvan Scrying and the Thespian Stage, I think that completes the deck on Arena.
Am I wrong? You are wrong.
Okay.
The card that the deck is missing is the most important card in the deck. It's not Lotus Field. It's Hidden Strings.
Ooh.
How that's big disappointment number one. How is Hidden Strings not included in this? Because it is the one card the deck needs to actually function. Like Thespian Stage is great. Like it started out really, really, really strong with Sylvan Scrying, with Cyclonic Rift, which you see in some sideboards in Lotus Field, and then you get to the Thespian Stage, and you're like, oh my god, if we get Hidden Strings, the deck is available in Explorer, and we're all happy.
Except for me, because I don't like the deck.
And then they gave us a Quarter Shield. A Quarter Shield, I believe, was one of the last ones to be previewed. So that's just like I have nothing good to say about this now because of that. Like, I'm glad know of any decks that run it. Worm creativity with World Spine Worm and Xenagos, God of Revels. Like, glad that archetype is in Explorer now. Great. Yep. But like Lotus Field can't keep getting the shaft like this. Like you had to put Hidden Strings in here. It's one of the most played decks in Pioneer. You can't not put the whole deck in.
I agree with you there. It's a very popular deck, even though I hate it.
Yes.
And I acknowledge that, and it's still a valid archetype. I think every set that gets released, there's the potential for an upgrade because of the shenanigans that can get introduced.
Right, the wish board, basically. It's your kind of Karnish deck that isn't Karn, but you can get whatever card you want from the sideboard as you need it. So like board wipe, giant ass creature, omniscience, cards that just can win the game or swing the game back in your favor.
Cards where you could just cast everything from hand.
Yeah.
Yes. When we started talking about this, just you and I privately, we were saying this is like the worst anthology. Then we started looking at the previous anthologies.
Yes.
And we got to Anthology 1.
Yes. Explorer Anthology 1 might be the worst thing I think I've ever seen. Because here are the cards that actually matter. Now, if you're a heroic player, you got Favored Hoplite and Battlewise Hoplite, although I don't know if Battlewise Hoplite is even played in a heroic deck. So you got favorite hoplite. Congrats. Yeah. The cards that matter from Anthology 1 are Mausoleum Wanderer.
Yep.
Elvish Mystic. Supreme Verdict. And Darksteel Citadel.
I'm going to add one more to that list.
Okay.
Tireless Tracker. I believe that gets added in a couple other decks. I don't know offhand, but I have seen it often.
It was in Modern Yawgmoth, but then got pushed out for other stuff.
That's right. Oops.
So it's not even it's not even a card you see in Pioneer. At least to me, I haven't seen it in Pioneer, and I might be wrong. Like there might be some Pioneer deck that uses it, but like it's a landfall deck, and you have basically like the basic fetches like Terramorphic Expanse and Evolving Wilds and Fabled Passage to trigger landfall multiple times. So what you're just now, I don't know. I don't know where that's good in anything in Pioneer / Explorer.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, everything I'm looking at here for Tireless Tracker. So maybe I misspoke. And I've seen it a lot modern, but everything there is historic or historic brawl has been everything Tireless Tracker has been useful in.
So there's 4 cards that matter. Like I said, Mausoleum Wanderer, Elvish Mystic, Darksteel Citadel, and Supreme Verdict. So like that's like really pathetic because like Darksteel Citadel is only good as a Karn Wishboard target. Supreme Verdict is only used in Control and Lotus Field. Mystic is used in Gruul Boats, anything like green ramp based. Like that's so like good. Mausoleum Wanderer, Spirits, cool. Needed that.
Yep.
But when you compare that to Anthology 2 is like crazy in comparison.
It was cracked in Anthology 2. You got a lot of burn pieces in there. Oh, right. Okay. You got Nykthos. You got Brave the Elements, Mana Confluence. Just a whole bunch here. Ethereal Armor, Thought Not Seer, I think Matter Reshaper for some decks.
A bunch of Eldrazi got put in.
Mutavault.
Fiery Impulse. Eidolon of the Great Revel, if that's something you still wanted to play. That was more for historic. And then Leyline Binding and Solitude came out, so it became less useful. And then Rending Volley, which is like one of the best red sideboard cards in the meta.
True. Yeah, I think Eidolon of the Great Revel is used as a sideboard in Red Winds.
Sure, that makes sense.
I think so. Yeah.
And then I think you may have said Fiery Impulse. So like you look at that, that's like 7 or 8 cards that are really good. And then you have like Zulaport Cutthroat, which is like for historic, and then you see that sometimes in Yawgmoth. And then there's again a bunch more, like I guess Dispel too, if that's I guess as a sideboard card.
I don't know. I think there's better 1-mana counter
and then
spells.
You have Reflector Mage, which is a Coco target for certain like Bant Coco humans. You can see that in.
I've seen that, yeah.
There's legitimate play seen in at least 10 of them, and there's 20, 25, 26-ish. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 25. So, like, that's above what we see with Explorer Anthology 3, because it's like Shrapnel Blast is not really used in Explorer. Same with Cord. Abbot of Carol Keep is seeing slight play in the Pia deck because it exiles a card from the top of the library when it ETBs. Sylvan Scrying obviously is really good. Worldspine Worm. Is It Charm is played in Phoenix, Xenagos, and then Thespian Stage, and Psych Rift sometimes, and that's it. It's like what are we doing here? Where are these what are these things going into that actually matter?
Yeah, so I don't know. Like the charms to me make no sense.
Is It Charm's fine because it actually sees play, but I guess if you're putting in Is It Charm, you're going to put in all the enemy charms. I guess.
Yeah, and like we had this promise how many years ago from Wizards? It was 2 years ago?
Maybe 2 years, 18 months, something like that.
So that they were going to be really pushing hard to get at least the Explorer or the Pioneer meta into Explorer. The top whatever cards that were played. This to me does not look like they're looking at the meta stats at all.
No, because selfishly, we're waiting for Kithian, Hero of Akros, to show up. Like I said, Hidden Strings, we're still waiting for that. I'm hoping Anthology 4 is it, and then from there they can just start pushing stuff into newer sets. Because I'm sure we're getting a sleight of hand reprint in Wilds of Eldraine, so I'm sure we're gonna and that was something else too with I think it was Explorer Anthology 2, where people were like, "Where the fuck is Monastery Swiftspear?" And then Swiftspear
came out in Brothers War,
the next set.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that Hidden Strings is going to be in the next set, because I although that'd be interesting. But Wizards, I think, is going to start reprinting more and more stuff into standard sets, so that way they can get around putting stuff in anthologies.
Would they? I don't know. Do they make money off these anthologies? Do you think, or I'm sure they make some amount.
Yes, because you can spend gems on them, so you can definitely, get somebody's real money off of that. But I was actually grinding to get to buy the Explorer Anthology, and then it hit, and it was just like, oh, this fucking sucks. I don't even want to play Arena anymore. I've stopped playing Arena because of that. I do not want to support this at all. Until shit is actually in the game that we can play and it's closer to parity, I don't care.
Yeah, I agree. It's because leading up to my RCQs, I was doing a lot on Arena, trying to practice, and I felt like I was crushing it on Arena in the Explorer queues, and I feel when I got to the actual metagame that I was playing in, it was nothing like what we were seeing, and some of those decks too, like the Auras deck with Light Paws, that's not really supported well in Explorer. So it's becoming supported soon.
Yes,
but again, the metagame is completely off between paper and this supposedly close format.
And it's the format they're pushing with Pioneer. It's a format they want people to go to after they go you graduate from Standard into Pioneer is seemingly the goal. So why are you dragging your feet on your client that you keep pushing down people's throats with Arena? Why are you dragging your feet to not make the paper and digital experiences 1-to-1, or at least remotely close to 1-to-1? So that way people can take the deck they have in Arena, go to their LGS, buy all the cards, and sit down and play at a Pioneer table. Now, of course, that requires also LGSs to support the Pioneer format, which I guess players also don't want to do in the first place.
Yeah. Where I'm at, there is two shops that do Pioneer regularly. One on Fridays, which is an hour away from me. One on Wednesdays, which is
I'm dropping shit. It's fine.
One on Wednesdays, which is a half hour away.
Right.
So the one on Wednesdays is nice and all, but they haven't been able to fire in probably about 2 months from what I saw.
Yeah, and after that, even if you try to build a community, you're not going to fire. You're just not. People like me, just anecdotally, I went to my LGS. They were doing Popper on Tuesdays. I went for 2 months straight, and nobody was coming to this fucking event. And it might be firing now. People talk about going, and it's just I'm not getting burned again, man. I sit there for hours, or an hour waiting for people. I paid a park. I do all this shit, and no one's showing up. Why am I here? Why do I even go? So I don't go. I just don't go anymore.
Yeah, the only time I have consistently seen things fire is on Fridays.
Yeah,
which is upsetting But at the same time, like I get it. Like people, especially during the summer months. The summer months, I think, are probably the hardest for the game stores to run these kinds of things.
Yeah.
Due to just people having family commitments, the weather being nice, it's light out longer. Nobody wants to be inside except, for us spiky spikes who don't spike.
Yes. I also live in a college town. So, like, and
yeah.
my college is UNC. So, like, there's a ton of kids who just go home.
Yeah. Yeah. You got nobody there on breaks over summer except for locals.
So I might go back in like the fall, like in September. I might go back on a Tuesday because there might be kids there who actually want to play. But like, yeah, for now, I'm not setting foot in that store on a Tuesday. It's not happening.
Yeah, that's rough.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't have much else to say about the Explorer Anthology stuff. It's just very disappointing right now what Wizards is not doing in bringing format parity. Like we just need this. So that way you're forcing people to go to MTGO to play and rent cards and buy all these tickets offline from not you. I don't know. Like it's weird. It's weird what Wizards is doing right now.
It's extremely weird, and I 100% agree with you that I believe this is proactively taking money out of their pockets with the card rental programs, like you mentioned, and the only thing people really have to buy is just entry fees.
Yes,
for leagues, because like I just signed up this week for the rental program on Card Hoarder, and you don't even have to pay them in tickets for the rentals. You could just pay them directly every week, and it'd be done.
Right. The economy in MTGO is very not good, but like at least there's a rental service, unlike MTG Arena, where it's just like, I hope you have the wild cards, kid.
That and the dollars to packs that you purchase. Yeah. I think you pay less for the pack on MTGO than you do on Arena, and you get 15 cards.
Yeah,
you get instead of you get a pack instead of what it's 5 or 6 on Arena.
I think it's 8 cards.
Oh, is it 8? Because it feels like I never get anything.
Well, it's 8 slots, and then you can get like wild cards and shit. So they're like half a card. Well, actually, they're like that's actually the preferred version. Is like if you could just open packs and just get nothing but wild cards.
Just give me only wild cards, please.
If I could just open packs and get nothing but fucking wild cards, it'd be great.
No. Just and instead of paying $10 for $10
for 4.
Oh, it's 4
wild cards. Either mythic or rarity. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's a terrible economy. I can't believe it's still happening, but I guess people are paying enough money that they don't care.
Yeah, I agree. They're just making hand over fist for some reason. I think a lot of the biggest appeal I think is that it's something you can do on the toilet.
Yes.
You can't play MTGO on the toilet. So
you can just bring your laptop. Cast your monitor into a second monitor in the bathroom, and then take a wireless keyboard and mouse with you.
Oh man. But then you have to pay attention.
Yeah, I know.
Well, and the games go on a lot longer in MTGO than on Arena.
Well, yeah, because your opponent can intentionally tank until you're just like, oh my god, I want to just die.
I think I've had that happen once. Anyways, anything else we want to talk about anthologies? I feel like I've exhausted it. I feel like we've complained enough about Arena. We're probably not.
We're real Magic the Gathering players now. We complain about Arena.
We've done it. We're internet personalities.
Yeah.
Yay. All right. Next up, I went to the Commander Masters preview draft last night.
Yes.
It was fun. I will say it was fun.
Okay.
I will say the fun to dollars spent was not great though. The price for the draft event was $50.
Yes.
Which, with how much the set boosters or how much the packs are going for, makes sense. But I had fun during the event. But as soon as the event was done, like as soon as I had finished my match, because one, there was no structured matches,
Right.
which felt kind of bad. But also, as soon as I was finished it, I was like, wow, I have all these cards that don't even meet the value of my entry fee.
Yeah, it sounds like draft.
I don't know. I feel like with standard draft, I can at least kind of get a little close. There's some bigger bombs and stuff like that. I don't. Based off of the deck I built a Golgari, Goreclaw, and Demon Lord Bells and Lock deck. It was here. I am sending you the deck list so you can take a look. But the theme of the deck was Golgari Stompy.
Yes.
And it was fantastic. It was fun. I had a turn 2 Goreclaw.
I'm sure you did.
Everybody at my table hated me. Because I don't know if it's just the commander mindset or not, but I drafted in order to win.
What the fuck did you have?
I had
Goreclaw. Was it a couple?
I had here. I'll give you my opening hand. I had 2 forests and a soul ring.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's it.
Yeah, so I turned 1 soul ring with the forest, and then cast my second forest and Goreclawed it out.
Yeah, you just win.
Yeah, and I just start. Anyways, I just started blasting. But yeah, it was great. I don't. What's sad is I don't even really remember what my opponents were playing, other than one person had Razakath. Is it Razakath?
Sure.
I think that's that. I don't know, the one that lets you pay life to draw cards or whatever. But I ended up with a $56 deck, and the biggest bomb I got was Tooth and Nail, which I didn't even get to use.
Yeah, it's a $13 card. That's not bad.
It's yeah, $13, but out of everything else, it was just, I don't know. It felt bad. The fact that we had very little support as far as like matchmaking goes was I think one of the worst things. Like there was no like tournament ladder kind of style.
Well, that's commander stuff.
I know. Maybe I was expecting too much.
Yeah, they don't want to actually put effort into commander. Like they just want to be like, hey, it's casual, just have fun. And it's just like, no, it's not casual. Have you ever seen me play commander? I get mad all the time.
Yes, you do. But that's also fine. That's fine. I think that's also like, I will play commander with you. I will play commander with our little group of friends. I don't think I'm going to play commander at the stores.
Yeah, that's fair.
I will be claimed as being a pub stomper. I feel like, especially with some of the decks that I put together.
Yeah. Well, that's because like we started off like really small playing precons, and then Caleb was just like, well, it's the thing that Caleb would always do, where you'd be trying out this new deck, and then Caleb would be like, all right, so here's red deck wins, and he would just kill you in like 3 turns, and it's just like, okay, well, I'm not having fun, so I'm just going to build up my power. And then that begins the arms race of like everybody slowly and incrementally getting stronger and stronger to the point where it's just like, all right, well, the games are just mega consistent now.
Yeah. And that's and that's like how I built my deck too. Like I had 14 pieces of ramp in the deck. Like I had, by turn 4, I could be casting, where's my boy? The Lolith Giant, which is a 6 7 mana costed 6/5 zombie giant that when it enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each target. 1 damage to target opponent for each creature in your graveyard, as well as the rampaging Brontodon. 7 mana, two of it being green. Trample, when it attacks, it gets +1/+1 for each land you control, and it's a 7/7 to start.
Sure.
Those were kind of like my big finishers outside of Exsanguinate.
Exsanguinate?
That's the word. I don't know why I can't say it.
I don't know why you can't say it either.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a fun... I would draft it again if it was maybe
cost me $0, I would draft it again.
Even if it was a $25 cost, I would draft it for $25.
Yeah, and that's a whole different discussion on the pricing of Commander Masters, because it's just like so ridiculous the prices they have on it. I don't want to pay it. I refuse to pay it. Like this is gonna sound like just me bashing on Wizards, the corporate entity, right now, and I don't want to do that. But like, Commander Masters is so cost prohibitive that I would just like, instead of buying a box, I'm just gonna go. Like, I just bought like 4 Chalice of the Voids. Like, it was $200.
Oof,
but that's fine because I'm going to use the Chalice of the Voids in my modern decks. Like, they're useful. They get played in multiple modern deck sideboards.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they do. I'm trying to look up current prices.
$50, just under $50. So it's like $200 with tax.
Wow.
And then I think my draft box, it's the one store that actually is reasonably priced around me. I think the draft box for Commander Masters was like $325.
$325.
I think.
Also though.
Yeah, $325.
I think with the recent spoiler that they're printing Doubling Season again as a bonus sheet card, I think that has driven costs down. I think this was hyped up because of freaking Doubling Season.
And a bunch of other stuff too. Like there was that commander that gives everybody horsemanship,
which one person drafted at my table.
Oh, but dope!
It was hilarious because they got 3 other blue cards, so they couldn't play.
Oh, that's lame.
They couldn't even splash them. Like, everybody was saying, like, why didn't you just do like a bunch of green and then him be a blue commander and that's it?
Yeah, I don't know. Dumb.
Yeah. Anyways, so there was one fun play that happened that entire game because I was just kind of like swinging my big creatures around at everybody, not really like paying attention to anybody because everybody was just dirtling, and I'm like, well, if you're going to dirtle, I'm going to attack you.
Right.
But the player right before me, he ended up getting a Galta Primal Hunger, 10 and a green, with trample and is a 12/12. He equipped it with an assault suit, which says it gives a quick creature +2/+2 and haste. It can't attack creatures you or planes. It can't. Oh my gosh! It can't attack you or planeswalkers you control, and it can't be sacrificed. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, you may have that player gain control of equipped creature until end of turn. If you do, untap it. He gave me his Galta after he took out one person.
Why would you do that?
Because with the assault suit, it's essentially goad. I can't attack him with it.
Yeah, but also no, don't do that. Don't give that to the green player.
He gave it to me, and I top deck a fantastic planeswalker, Freyalise Llanowar's Fury. I think I'm saying that right. With it's 3 green with the fantastic -2 ability of destroy target artifact or enchantment. So I go ahead and destroy it. I kill the person, the second person. No, I kill somebody else, and then it's just me and the guy that gave me the Galta, and he's looking there at it and just says, "I concede."
Sure.
He he didn't even let me untap. Like he didn't even untap. He's just like, F this.
Sure. I mean, it's his own fault.
It is his own fault, but that was probably the most fantastic thing that I had that night happen.
Sure.
Other than turn 2 Core Claw. But that was it. 10 out of 10 would not do again.
That's fair. So we're on to the actual thing we need to talk about, which is the Pro Tour. The Pro Tour is happening right now. It's a modern Pro Tour. It's in Barcelona. Top 8 is set. We have first, second, and third place all mono green Tron. We have fourth place is Scam, fifth, sixth, and seventh as Teamer Rhinos, and eighth as Amulet Titan.
How he sneak in there?
He's actually a really good Titan player. He had a feature match that was like, it was like how it was like turn 4 or 5, and he had no lands on board because he started with an Urza Saga, and
Oh my God.
he had Urza Saga, and then he eventually got 2 amulets, and then proceeded to get a bounce land to win the game. Like he just drew into the bounce land to win the game. Otherwise, he would have lost. Very interesting game. But so remember those. So we have 3 Trons, we have 3 Rhinos, we have 1 Scam, and we have 1 Amulet. And if you
what's Scam, Dan?
No one knows. No one knows. It's actually Rakdos Evoke, which I don't care.
Rakdos Evoke.
People bitched about that in fucking Twitch chat all day, and I was just like, guys, shut the fuck up. Like, no one cares. Like, if anybody actually cares that much, you should go play My Little Pony. Like, fuck off. So the big things to note with this is overall conversion to top 8, because there's day 2 conversion, which we can talk about too, but 52 people played Scam. 52 out of 269. That's about 20%. It's 19.3%. That's 8 percentage points higher than the next deck, which was 4-color Omnath, which had nobody in the top 8. And then you had Rhinos at 29 people. That's about 10.8%. 3 people from there. So that's actually
that's a decent spot, I think.
Because Tron is actually the best conversion rate, because that had 24 people and 3 of them made it. So 12% of all Tron players from the event made it into top 8, which is a crazy stat if you think about that.
Yeah, like it was crazy. I was watching it on Friday. I didn't get to watch any today, and it was just who was it who was winning? I think it's
Simon Nielsen, Frank Carcano, or Frank.
I think
Carcano?
It was Simon. I think it was Simon.
Christian Carcano, Javier Dominguez.
Yeah, I think it was Simon, and they were just able. Everybody who played was just able to sneak out these little wins.
Yeah,
like it was fantastic. I think this might seal the deal for a Karn ban somewhere, though. No, you don't think so?
No, because if you think about this, go to your locals, because I guarantee what's going to happen is, because there's a new build of Tron, which they're calling Handshake Tron, which is the mono green Tron version. Shut up. It's called Handshake because it's Team Handshake. So it's Javier Dominguez, Simon Nielsen, Nathan Stoyer, and somebody else. I'm sorry, 4th person. I don't know who you are, but they all like combine together, and they're just like, we're going to rebuild Tron from the ground up and talk about what needs to actually be in Tron for this level, like for this Pro Tour. So their version runs 3 Dismember mainboard. 3. So they don't run Gigantha, which if you look at the Christian Calcano list, he runs no Dismember, which means he has Gigantha in the sideboard. He's running 4 Scrying and 4 each of Sphere and Star. Meanwhile, Team Handshakes has 3 Scrying, 4 Sphere, and 1 Star. And then to replace the Star, they put in Talisman of Resilience, and they're main decking Relic of Progenitus. I guess also the Christian Calcano version is too. They're okay. So they actually put in Wormcoil Engine as like a main board threat.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I saw the worm coils in there. Yeah.
So that's going to be the list. Like if you have a Tron player at your locals, they're playing the Team Handshake list this week. or like
Yeah.
for the next X weeks until like a ban happens. And we're going to talk about a ban like towards the end of this segment because like I just want to kind of dive into the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I know I'm talking a lot, but so day 2 conversion rates. Rakdos Evoke / Scam had a 75% conversion rate into day 2. 4-color Omnath, 62% or 63%. Monogreentron, 79%. Rhinos, 50%. Yawgmoth, 52.5%. Demir Control, 65%. Living End, 80%. 81.82%.
Living End?
82% of Living End players went to day 2.
That's okay. That's great because like when I was watching Friday, Living End and Rhinos had phenomenal plays. Like every feature match I saw, it made me want to play Cascade in Modern.
I think
Like
Cascade is like the easiest and freest game 1 win you can have. Like, and that's such an advantage because then it's just like, okay, I can lose game 2 and we can go to game 3 and we'll roll the dice again and see what happens. But like, yeah, game 1 Cascade decks, like unless you're like really on it, I don't see how you beat a lot of Cascade decks unless you're like drawing the nuts and they're drawing like because I watched it was one of the
they have to be messed up on their lands, I think, right? For you to like they have to falter on their lands, I think.
No, what happened was this player, I can't remember who it was, but there was a matchup where they drew three of their crashing footfalls and had to suspend them. Yeah, that's how they fuck up is they draw crashing footfalls.
Oh no.
Yeah, they didn't get to a Cascade card at all that game. And they just lost. They just slowly lost. Like it was like the most torturous game I've ever seen. It was just like you can't like this is the worst variance I think I've ever seen in the history of Magic the Gathering. Like
Yeah.
your deck doesn't even function.
But it sucks too, right? You're in the Pro Tour. You can't, like if you just concede at that point,
Yes.
like you have to try and play it out. You
Right.
you have to because they might goof up in round 2, and you guys go to time and you win on a technicality or something.
Right. So yeah, and then like for me, the big thing I'm looking at, of course, is Murktide, and Murktide only had 33% conversion rate. And the best a player did was they were 27th. They went 10-5-1, which means they get a Pro Tour invite. So like W for that. But like Murktide's in this weird spot where like, and this has always been the problem with Murktide. Like anybody is like, oh, Murktide's just so good. It's like Murktide's very tuned towards whatever meta it plays because Murktide's a toolbox deck. Murktide has a lot of tools. It's just sometimes the toolbox is so fucked up and scrambled up that like you don't find the right tool at the right time.
And I think now with the recent introduction of the One Ring and everything like that, I don't think they've had time to finally tune it yet. We've had the One Ring for how long? Like 3-4 weeks?
Yeah.
Essentially for legal play.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it makes sense that they're faltering right now. I'm hoping the Fall from Favor drops prices on Ragavans a little more.
It won't, because Ragavans don't scam. So buy your Ragavans. It's fine. Your Ragavans. Hope that Rakdos scrubs out in top 8. Like they lose quarterfinals, so that way it's like they didn't win the Pro Tour. Deck sucks, I guess.
Yeah, I don't care what people say. Ragavan's still probably one of the best modern cards ever printed.
Oh, it is.
And like you need to grab it if the price is right.
You know what's a little bit better though? Orcish Bowmasters.
Yeah,
just a little bit better.
It's better than Orcish Bowmasters. The One Ring, according to most played modern cards, out of the decks submitted, all the decks, the 20 most played cards, the One Ring is at the top.
Yeah,
with a total of 450 copies. The next one, that means almost every deck has it.
Well, that means on average, almost every deck has like 2 of it. It's like 1.69% or 1.69 copies per deck.
Yeah.
obviously, like, not all of them are playing it. We're not saying that every deck is playing a copy of One Ring. That's not possible. The creativity would not function if you played that. Like, that would be awful.
I right, but there was an outstanding number of decks that had it. The Mono Green Tron, Handshake Tron that we're just talking about, they have 4 copies.
4 copies
in the main board.
Oh, really? They don't have one. They're not wishing for one. That's interesting.
Nope. They're trying to get it through draw.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. Seeing new cards, but Orcish Bowmaster is right behind it at 413.
And what's interesting with that is that Bowmaster is only in one deck in the top 8, and that is, of course, Rakdos Scam.
Yeah. Dang! Wow, that's insane.
And there are 4 decks in the top 8 with 4 copies of One Ring, because Amulet Titan also runs 4 copies of One Ring.
Okay. Wow.
Because basically what you're able to do is, like, if you get a couple amulets out and you play a bounce land, you can get 4 mana very quickly with 1 bounce land, and then just play your One Ring. And then you have your protection for that turn. And that way you can continue to get into other combo pieces that you need.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so I wonder if we broke down conversion rate by the One Ring. What that would
that's a good question. I'm sure someone's doing it, because I refuse. Nobody else can do that shit.
It's well, the fact that you said let's say Greentron
was 79%, and then Amulet Titan was 75%, and then I'm sure there's others. I
don't think Rhinos playing it.
Rhinos doesn't play it. 4-color Omnath plays it. That's 63%. So, like, it seemed to do well. Although what I also saw was that of the decks that play One Ring, all of them had a sub 50% win rate, except for the Mono Green Tron lists.
Got it.
And so you're probably wondering, wait, how is that possible for all that stuff? Like, how is that? So I actually went into the top 8, and I looked at their draft, because that's the other part of the Pro Tour that no one really talks about. We all talk about, like, the cool matchups between, like, Tron and Scam and Rhinos and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
You get to top 8s in draft. Like, draft is the way to go. So of the top 8, two went perfect in draft. 6
really?
2.
That's not a lot.
Went 5-1. 1 went 4-1-1, and the remaining 4 went 4-2. Nobody worse than 4-2. So wow. In reality, you cannot be worse than 4-2. And I'd have to back this up by, like, looking at prior Pro Tours and stuff. But, like, it seems like 4-2, the most you can lose in draft is 2 times.
Jeez.
And draft is so high variance too. Who knows what you're going to get? So, and you're playing against, like, some of the best players in the world. So, like, you can't scrub out in draft. You can't.
You know who knows what you're going to get? The judges who wrap those cards.
True.
Just kidding.
I just wanted to point that out. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
a neat statistic. Poorly at all in draft.
And you're right. Yeah, nobody ever talks about the draft aspect of it, but that is a big part of the Pro Tour that I honestly even forgot about, especially with this Barcelona one, because we're East Coast time,
right?
For us, that would be 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And we're not doing that. We're not getting up at 5 a.m. to watch draft.
Yeah. So, but, like, obviously if you're training for the Pro Tour and you're listening to this podcast, God bless, thank you. But, like, you need to study the draft format and be comfortable playing even the bad archetypes, because there's gonna be a chance you're gonna get a bad fucking archetype, and you're gonna be fighting with people over other archetypes. So you have to pivot. So, like, drafting, and it's been said by multiple people, if you're a good drafter, you're a good player.
This is not the first time I've heard that. The store owner that I used to go to in Buffalo said that a lot. He said that's how some of the best people learn Magic is by playing Draft.
Right.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I don't always get it.
Yeah.
Like as far as like, what we're doing. Like I'm having a hard enough time with pre-releases right now. Actually, yesterday would have been my first draft that I ever won. So, but it was also Commander Draft. So.
Yeah. So who actually knows? But so bans. I don't love talking about bans because my card evaluation's not great historically. My card evaluation's very bad, and that's where I need to improve as a player, is to improve my card evaluation based off of all the results and everything. I don't see, because the BNR announcement comes on the 7th, which is
next week,
next Monday,
2 weeks,
which we will talk about whatever the announcement is, whether there's bans, unbans, or nothing. We will talk about it, and I'm leaning more towards nothing is going to happen.
You don't think anything's going to happen?
No, not a single thing is going to happen.
I could see a Karn, not the 7 mana Karn, the 4 mana Karn?
4 mana Karn.
The Wish Karn.
Yeah, Wish Karn.
I could see him
broken in every format.
Right. That's why I'm thinking we could see him banned.
But the thing is like every deck has a broken card. In reality,
it's not just that, right? It's multiple high tier decks, right? So Pioneer has him.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, I guess I'm sorry. I think I'm looking at multi-format wise. Like, okay, Pioneer, he's a problem. In this version of Tron, he looks like he's a problem. But then again, like before this weekend, was Tron a problem? Probably not.
No. And
so maybe you're right. Maybe nothing will happen. I don't know.
It was talked about too, where I saw this on Twitter. I can't remember who said it. So if you're somebody who listens to this podcast and you're the person who said this, thank you. But they were like, there's a difference between like, oh, why is Tron doing so well at the Pro Tour? It's like, well, Tron in the hands of a pro versus Tron in the hands of a regular person playing it at FNM. Like, there's a massive skill gap with that deck. And it's all in mulligans, because like if you like, I watched a lot of the Tron games. They're mulliganing 4-3 constantly just to get to like the correct pieces.
Yep,
and then just go off of that. And I feel like a lot of people don't know that is to mulligan aggressively until you get to your pieces with Tron.
Yeah, that would make me terrified as a player. Like if I was playing Tron today, I would probably stop at 5.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Because I'm willing to mulligan twice. I will never, like, current mental state, I would not mulligan past that. And
I feel like you would just need a ton of reps on Tron to even understand a lot of play patterns. So like the skill gap, I feel like obviously there's skill gap between pros and regular players like us. Like there's always going to be that skill gap. And there's decks that help close that skill gap. I feel like the Cascade decks, to a degree. I'm not saying Cascade players are all like brain dead, drooling all over themselves and shit. I'm saying like the Cascade decks, while they do have definitely some interaction points where they need to be heads up, it feels like for the most part, if you're just jamming on turn 3 to get your Cascaders and get your two dumb 4/4s on the battlefield, like you're doing okay. But like Tron and knowing how to mulligan, what cards to play around, all this stuff. There's so much that goes into that deck that like, yeah, your grinder at your guy being like, oh yeah, I picked up Tron this week. I think it looks cool. Like I feel like a lot of people are going to overvalue Tron this week at FNMs and just like, I went 0-4 with Team Handshake version. It's fucking dog shit. And it's just like, it's not dog shit. You just don't know how to play it.
Yeah, I think I think this weekend would be a great weekend to go to Friday Night Magic with a dampening sphere.
Yeah. Or Obsidian Chainmaw. I fucking saw Obsidian Chainmaw in a
What the
Team of
fuck is that?
Rhinos sideboard.
What the fuck is that?
It's a Modern Horizons 2 card. It's 3 red for a 4/4 flying dragon. It costs 1 less for each land your opponent controls that creates a colorless mana. And then as ETBs, you can destroy target land. So it's specifically for the Tron matchup with red decks.
Yep.
And the Rhinos player throws it down, blows up a Tron land, and just wins the game with a flying 4/4 because they just can't deal with it.
Oh my gosh!
Except for Dismember.
I think I have a playset of these.
It's really good. It's a good card. It's an interesting card. I wouldn't say it's a good card.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it's sub $1, right?
That sounds about right. So back to bans. So maybe One Ring, maybe, because currently there are 4 decks in the top 8 that are running One Ring and running them at 4 copies. Mm-hmm. Bowmasters was the big card that a lot of people were talking about. It's the card that is single-handedly holding back Murktide. So, like, selfishly, I'm like, get rid of that fucking piece of shit.
I don't think it's happening.
In reality, seems fine. We can probably get around it. We'll probably be okay. It's just Murktide has to continue to adapt to it.
Yeah.
So, and then I see people like, oh, ban Grief, ban Fury. It's like, those Scam was a luck roll, like a roll of the dice deck anyway, like pre-Bowmasters.
Yeah, it did not. It's not showing very well. Like,
yeah,
for the amount of decks that were submitted as Scam, it is not showing well in the top 8. I don't think anything from that deck is getting banned.
I don't see it. Like, I'm sorry, I just don't see it.
Yeah, I don't either. I feel like there's enough ways to deal with that deck. It's not oppressive enough.
Yeah. And then unbans, I see people calling for Splinter Twin. I just bought a playset of Splinter Twins just in case. But like, other than that, like, I don't know enough about the cards on the ban list to say, oh, this is definitely getting unbanned or whatever. It's just like, I don't think anything's going to happen. I think a lot of people are going to be upset. I think the format's in a pretty good spot because for a while we were in the Creativity Rhinos Murktide format.
Yeah. Yep.
And that was post somebody got something in Brothers War or so, like, since the beginning of the year it's basically been Creativity Rhinos Murktide. And then as soon as Lord of the Rings comes out, it's like Omnath, Tron,
everything opens up.
Scam, Living End. And it's just people are freaking the fuck out. And it's just like, what are we talking about here?
The meta has not had enough time to shift yet, in my opinion, just to settle. Like I said, it's been less than, I think, a month.
And people are like, oh well, metas get solved quick. It's like, no. Yeah, sure. So you think, but metas shift constantly. Like, yeah, the Team Handshake Tron is now going to change the meta again because Tron players are going to attempt to play this list. Right.
Exactly. This is not like that's the beautiful thing about the meta, but also the most terrible thing about the meta, right, is that it's constantly moving, and you could try to play outside of it, but you better be well dang tuned.
And that's why when people say, oh, it's the death of Murktide, Murktide's dead, and this happens, and I don't mean like right now, I mean like this has happened, like there was like last month before Lord of the Rings came out, Murktide didn't place like in a top 8 in a MTGO challenge for a weekend, and it was just like, is Murktide dead? And the same thing happened the prior month, and the same thing happened the prior month, and it's just like, again, back to the Murktide thing. It's a toolbox deck. If it doesn't have the right tools, right, it doesn't do its thing. And when metas shift, you don't have the right tools sometimes. So the meta now has to adjust because that Team Handshake Tron list adjusted to Bowmasters, and now Scam has to counterpunch, and then everybody else has to look at what Scam's doing because that's currently the best deck. Although in theory it's probably still Tron, but like that's at the high tables. Probably at your like lower level Friday Night Magic, RCQ tables is probably still Scam. So you have to think about that. Like, how is
Right.
scam counterpunching? What is scam counterpunching with? Does this affect you in any way? Does this affect your deck in any way, shape, or form? Okay, it doesn't? Cool. I'll just keep my list, or like I'll pack more in for scam. Or like, oh, I'm worried about Tron existing now. And people playing more Tron, and like them just luck sacking into Tron wins, because that happens. Where it's just like, oh, I have Tron, here's fucking Ulamog, you're dead. And it's like, great, awesome. So
Oh my god, I did see them cast Ulamog, and when I saw that, I lost it. I cracked up laughing because I was like, no fucking way you cast Ulamog
yeah,
during the Pro Tour.
it's great. 10 mana, exile 2 permanents, one of which is most likely going to be the ring, and then, deck your opponent for 20.
Oh, Daniel, this. I wonder if my cereal box Ulamog is going to go up in price now.
It's possible. Because I don't know if I don't know what the Tron list looks like or looked like before the One Ring came out. I don't know if they were playing Ulamog. It felt like they were probably playing like Karn, the Great Creator, a couple Karn Liberated, Ugin, the Spirit Dragon, and then just like a bunch of random shit. I don't know. Tron feels weird, but like if you look at the Team Handshake list, I'm going to keep going back to this because it's such a cool adaptation. The reason they're off of Star is because of Dothy Voidwalker, because Sphere, when you crack it for the mana, it draws the card automatically. Star has to go to the graveyard. And so if Dothy Voidwalker or like, a Leyline of the Void or whatever the fuck, whatever graveyard hate, if it doesn't hit the graveyard, you don't get the card draw.
Yeah, it is. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful list. I'm excited to see kind of where it goes. It looks like they were playing Ulamog, so maybe my price won't go up, or maybe the popularity will force
will make it go up potentially. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens out of this. If Tron does win, it's going to get played a lot. I think even still, the Team Handshake list is going to be the thing Tron players are testing with.
Yeah.
I don't know. Rhinos is probably going to go up in price a little bit because that like dipped a bit after Lord of the Rings, but now you're seeing because it just beats up on Scam.
Yeah.
And the reason it beats up on Scam is because all they have to do is like top deck a Cascade card. Like you can hand disrupt all you want. And it's just like, everyone has a plan until a 4/4 punches them in the fucking mouth. So like Scam had to adapt to Chalice of the Voids. So they run like 4 Chalice of the Voids, and that's their way of like trying to beat the Rhinos matchup. And Rhinos runs Beseiju. So it's like, all right, I Beseiju your fucking thing. Yeah. Now I get to do my thing. Have fun.
Yeah, I'm wondering how this stacks up for Burn. I think Burn post board is probably going to be pretty good still against the new Tron sets because of Blood Moon. That's really all I can think of.
I don't know if Burn's playing Blood Moon. I don't feel like they're playing Blood Moon. I feel like if they're playing anything, they're playing Alpine Moon, and that's it.
They should play Blood Moon.
All right, so the 40th ranked player played Burn.
Oh no!
They have Sanctifier, Chalice of the Void, Core Firewalker, Wear Tear, Smash the Smithereens, and Deflecting Palm.
Oh no!
So they're not playing, and that makes sense because like the moons like Magus, Alpine, and Blood Moon are all like mid-range plants. Like you're playing that card to keep the middle of the game going as long as possible. And if you're a mid-range deck, the longer the mid-game goes on, the better you do.
I see.
So like Scam does that really well. Murktide can do that really well. Rhinos does that really well. So I actually feel like Rhinos is like really well positioned to win tomorrow. Just based off of that, I think if Rhinos can just dump, obviously get to win your Cascades, like get to your Cascades before Tron even can assemble, and then fucking slam a Blood Moon in games 2 and 3, and you're just like, Good luck, buddy.
Good luck, buddy. Yeah, I hope. I don't know. I want to see Tron win. I was really impressed with it when I was watching yesterday, and I really just want to see them pull it off. I want to see Team Handshake top 4. Right? It's 4 guys.
It's 4 guys. Nathan
Yeah.
Stoyer went 7-9. So
Never
Nathan
mind.
Stoyer won Worlds and then the previous Pro Tour. So like everyone was like, "Oh man, if Nathan Stoyer wins this Pro Tour, like he's on a fucking roll." And it's like, "Oh, he scrubbed out at 7-9."
Oh no.
And then I don't know who the 4th person is. Again, I apologize.
He must have just got bad luck.
I looked at it. It was I think he went 3-3 in draft, and then just wasn't playing well, I guess, or something. I don't know. It didn't. He already has his Worlds invite locked up, so like he obviously doesn't have to try if he doesn't want to. That was the same thing with like Simon Nielsen too. He's like, this is my vacation PT. And it's just like, all right, you're top 8 again in your vacation PT. So what the fuck happens when you're not on vacation?
What's a vacation PT?
Well, because he's just like, I'm not really worried about the game too much. I'm just kind of playing. I'm just kind of vibing and having fun. It's just like, okay, well, you're like I think he's 2nd overall. He's 3rd. He's 3rd in a modern Pro Tour. He's just not giving a shit.
Not giving a
which is hilarious to me.
That's fantastic. So I'm just looking at the list real quick for the Mono Green Tron, just kind of looking at the prices of it. Because right now it's the Javier list is $596.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. Not bad for a modern deck. I am seeing the most expensive.
Probably Karn or Ursa Saga.
It's the 4 copies of the One Ring.
Oh, yeah, but after that.
After that, I think it's Urza Saga.
Yeah.
Nope. By $2, 4 copies of Karn the Great Creator.
Yeah, Karn the Great Creator is very good. And multi-format All-Star.
Multi-format All-Star, yeah. So fairly affordable for a modern deck compared to Rhinos, which is over 1,000.
Yeah, well, that's because Rhinos runs 3 copies of Gemstone Caverns, which is like a $60 fucking land. And the entire point of Gemstone Caverns is when you're on the play is to catch up. So that way, like, when your opponent is potentially tapped out on turn 2, you can just cascade, like, you can slam a sorcery speed, like Shardless Agent, on your turn 2 with 3 lands and a Cascader.
Yeah. Wow, on your turn 2.
Yeah, on your turn 2, because you're exiling a card with Gemstone Caverns, and then you're getting a luck counter, so you can tap it for whatever mana. You get another land, and then you get another land on your turn 2, and it's like, all right, cool, here's my Shardless Agent on turn 2, here's 10 power on turn 2.
I didn't realize that they played Murktide in the list.
Yep.
A 1 of Murktide.
I've seen lists with 4, I've seen lists with 2, 3, 1, 0. I mean, obviously, like, Violent Outburst plus Crashing Footfalls, that's 2 instants and sorceries right there. You have your Fire Ice, your Dead Gone. What else? Force of Negations, Mystical Disputes. So like you can load a Lorien Revealed. So you can load up on all of your instants and sorceries and get like an 8/8 Murktide out, no problem. So like your opponent can be like, all right, I've used all my removal on their Rhinos. They can't possibly win. And it's like, all right, here's a Murktide.
Yeah, it looks like their most expensive bits are
the Gemstone Caverns,
the Wooded Foothills, Gemstone Caverns, and the Forces.
Yeah, the Forces, but I have my 4 copies of Force. I have enough Wooded Foothills. I need the Gemstone Caverns.
How do you have a playset of Force of Negation?
Because I bought them.
Damn.
Instead of buying packs, I bought cards that are actually useful.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I don't know. I don't buy enough. Just singles. I'll each set I'll typically just like buy a booster box and that'll be it.
Yeah, I think I'm done with that practice now because I'm learning. Like I'm seeing now, it's just like I can just have like higher efficiency cards for the same price or even sometimes less just by
Yeah.
buying them.
Yep. I think you're right. Flame of Anor is in this set or deck too. What the
What?
in their sideboard? They're running 3 Flame of Anor,
Why?
the one blue red instant from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, I know what it is. Why?
If you control a wizard as you cast this spell, you may choose 2 instead. Target player draws 2 cards, destroy a target artifact, or deals 5 damage to a creature. Huh.
Is this the Kai Booty or Buddy list?
Yeah, Kai Buddy.
I'm probably pronouncing that name wrong, but
Yeah, it's weird. It's very odd.
why are you playing that card?
It's probably for the artifact destruction.
No, because I feel like you would play Oh, you can't play Cast into the Fire.
I'm assuming
that gets cascaded into.
I'm assuming it's for to kill the chalices. Is its main goal.
Yeah. Although, why would you just not play Prismari Command?
Because you can't play I don't know if you can play Prismari Command on curve.
Yes, you can. It's is it? And you're
is it?
Yeah. So you can absolutely play that on curve.
Okay, I thought it was more than.
No, it's 3 mana.
Target player draw.
So you get instant card draw. You can deal damage. You can destroy target artifact, and I think there's another mode. There's a 4th mode.
Draw two, then discard 2.
Right, which is fine.
Create a token. Deal 2 damage to any
treasure
target.
Token. That's right.
Oh yeah, treasure. Sorry, I forgot.
Create a treasure token. Deal 2 damage to target anything. Destroy target artifact. Draw 2, discard 2. Like all 4 of those modes are relevant. I think that card is actually better than Flame of Anor, unless like the Flame of Anor, because it says deal 5 damage to target creature. So unless they're worried about Shieldred,
that could be it. But then again, they don't really draw much, do they? Well, I guess Shieldred's a big blocker for their Rhino.
Yeah, Rhinos don't break through Shieldred ever.
Yeah.
And then
what's the Questing Beast for?
Oh, that's for 1 ring protection. So the ring gives you protection, and when you attack the Questing Beast, combat damage can't be prevented. So therefore, their protection is turned off. So you play the Questing Beast.
Beautiful.
You do like 12 damage, and they can't be prevented.
Questing Beast. Every time you read it, it gets a new ability.
I know, right? It's crazy. Yeah, so that's that. You also could see Bone Crusher Giant, because Stomp says damage can't be prevented. You're seeing is Skullcrack damage can't be prevented, or is that can't gain life?
Can't gain life.
Okay, because then it's Flaring Pain that's the one that says damage can't be prevented.
Correct.
Which I don't think is modern legal. It's Pauper legal, though.
Pauper legal. It's the best legal.
So yeah, interesting stuff going to come out of this. No matter what, there's going to be something interesting. People are going to complain when the ban list is likely nothing.
Everybody complains. It doesn't matter if something's banned or not banned. People are going to complain.
Yeah. And people are like, I'm done playing modern. I'm like, cool.
Give me your cards.
Cool. I'm done playing modern. I'm done playing modern until Bowmasters is banned. Okay, cool. See ya.
Yeah, I don't think Bowmasters is a problem.
Bowmasters is... I mean, it might be a problem.
Legacy, though.
Well...
I could see it being more of a problem in Legacy.
And it might be. I don't follow enough Legacy. But like the thing with Bowmasters is that it's... And again, I say this as a Murktide player. It's so bad when your opponent goes 3-for-1 on you. Like they play Bowmasters and they kill your DRC and then they have 2 bodies.
To block your Ragavan?
And not even to block your Ragavan. Like they kill your DRC or Ragavan, but just by playing another monster. You're just by playing another creature. And it's just like, okay, you went 3-for-1 off of 2 mana. Cool.
It's fantastic. I love it.
It's awful. It's probably the most debilitating play because it's like, well, now I have like now Murktide can't even turbo out anymore. Like it has to like slow down, be very methodical for how it approaches. So yes, as a Murktide player, I would love to see Bowmasters banned. In reality,
It's not happening.
Bowmasters doesn't need banned. It's just checking Murktide because Murktide needed checked.
Yep, I agree. But Daniel, with that being said, I think we're coming to a close tonight.
Sure are.
I've had a fantastic time talking to you. Anything else that we should suggest to people?
Yeah, check out our YouTube channel. As Bill said, we're going to be posting leagues over there. It's going to be one match per day for each of us. This is eventually, it's probably going to be after the BNR announcement. We'll like, not after, but like the same day as the BNR announcement, we'll start posting content because we still have to like get all of our shit together. But also, what was I going? Oh, we are also posting bi-weekly for the episodes. Mainly because like not enough happens for us every week to do an episode. Like we're not like driving out to RCQs every week just to talk. We're not playing in mock showcases or like challenges every weekend to talk about it. So we're just sticking with a bi-weekly format that's probably going to give us the most amount of stuff to talk about. Podcasts will hopefully get shorter. We're a little over an hour right now. The last one was an hour and 42 minutes. I know a lot of people were like, what the fuck is this? So the podcast will get shorter. We'll have less to talk about, but also we'll have a lot to talk about with bi-weekly stuff.
Yeah, we'll tighten up, get more of a guideline together.
Yeah.
to not talk your ears off. Just a couple other things I want to say. If you guys want to go ahead and on YouTube, give us a like, a share, comment. We'd love to interact with you.
Subscribe.
That's the big one. On the podcast side, Dan, what do they need to do for podcasts?
Leave reviews. Good Pods is a good place. Apple Podcasts is a good place. Spotify is a good place. We're all there. If you want a slightly shorter show, it will be on the podcast, the audio podcast side. The video, considering it's a static image of us just talking, it's a bit harder to edit. Eventually, I'll get enough time where I can do real video editing. But until then, if you want shorter episodes, go listen on podcast services.
And with that, I'm going to say thank you, everybody, and have a good one. See you in 2 weeks.
Keep calm and spike on.
Keep calm and spike on. I love it.